Welcome back to another episode with the Real Collective Podcast.
Yes.
It's your girl, Keisha.
What up? It's your girl, Dawn.
Hey, y'all. It's Cam.
Hey, y'all. It's Roxy.
And Nay. And as you can see, we have some special guests today. So, these men here are the creatives behind our promotional video that is definitely streaming on all platforms, social media platforms. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. Very, very talented young men. Glad to have them today. We have Prep Boys Media joining us, and I'm going to let them go ahead and introduce themselves to you all today.
Hey, how y'all doing? It's Christian with Prep Boys Media.
Yo, I'm Versatile, co-owner of Prep Boys Media.
All right, tell us a little bit about how y'all got started. Like, where did this idea even come from?
Well, we were friends, way before the business. So, once we kind of like really got past the friendship and, realized that, it's a lot we have in common, because we was in school as well. So a lot of things just made sense. So like, when it came down to the business aspect, it's something that he already founded years ago. So, which was initially a clothing line, and then it ended up being what it is today, which is a media business. Actually, this is the third phase of this business. Actually, like it was three different things. Like this is literally the third phase. But yeah, we started this back in like 2014, 2015, within the journey of him being a spoken word artist. And that's just kind of like, it just transitioned and it's becoming something beautiful.
Okay. That's
Yeah, he set it up.
dope. That's super dope. I didn't know it was a clothing line first. That's real dope.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, today we have a sort of a different topic. It's on male sensitivity. And my question to Prep Boys, as a male child, how were you all taught to show emotion? How were you all taught to handle your emotions?
Good question.
Well, when it comes down to emotions, as a child, I mean, just coming from like a different background, it's like, what is emotions? What is a child emotions? Is a child trying to express how you feel, or frustration is like non-existent in a sense where you're not old enough to feel, or sometimes you're mad, you're not old enough to be mad at just because you're privileged for so cases. So it's like falling in love when you're like 16 or 15 years old and someone come to you and be like, oh, that's not real love. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, or you don't know what real love is. So it's just like, growing up in that sense where you have to reach a certain age or reach a certain position in your life for you to understand what true emotions and how to express true emotions is kind of like what's really difficult. So, yeah.
Feel like your feelings weren't validated growing up? Is that what you're trying to explain?
You said what happened?
It kind of sounded like you felt like your feelings as a child weren't validated.
It wasn't. It wasn't, because it's a difference between a male and a female. Like, you know what I'm saying? For example, when a woman falls, it's just like, oh my gosh. It's just rush. And then when a male falls, hey, hurry up and get back up. Get back on the bike, or X, Y, and Z. It's this aggressive way. So just teaching a child or teaching a male this aggressive way, since that was from their kid, and ignoring the fact that this child wanted to cry or X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? That's a learned behavior over time. And then when you teach a woman so many, when you show this much emotional connection to a woman, that's all she knows. So that's the difference between the different way how a male will express itself or a woman will express itself. So logical and there's an emotional sense.
What about you, Christian?
I definitely agree with that. Well, like, and at the same time, like, that question can really be aided towards, instead of it being general, it can really be aided towards a Black child. Because a Black child, how he's taught to be growing up, especially with the generational. I mean, I don't want to go that route, but you know, y'all know what I'm saying. Like,
Speak your
No,
mind.
go, yeah, do what you got to say. What you got to say?
I mean, like the whole journey of Black people as a whole, it all affects every gender. You know what I'm saying? So every gender has its own way of being affected. The Black child, the Black male child, um, is taught to be dominant in a toxic environment. Um, it's not taught for us to be adhesive and transparent about how we feel about what's in front of us. It's more so, you have to be this. You have to be this. And it's kind of like, it's not fair, but it's like at the same time, it's like we need it at the same time. But I think it's just the fact that it's not being accounted for, that we still have other things inside of us that we need to express. It just don't always need to be this one way of thinking, because it still is relevant. And I think growing up in a modern society, especially America, you know, it definitely, I can vouch for myself. Yes, I'm definitely a product of that. You know.
Do you wish that you had been able to express yourself more for both of you as a child? Do you feel like, if it's a generational thing, is this something that if you become fathers of sons, will you try to teach them differently?
Wow. So I think that when it it's like, think about this: when a woman grows up and the mother verbally abuse her, say these different things, or a male grow up and father verbally abuse them, or the mother, and that child says, when I get older, I'm never going to be like you, or when I have a child, I'm never going to be like my mom, I'm never going to be like my dad, X, Y, and Z, and turn out you try not to be like this person to end up just like them. You know what I'm saying? And that is the continuous growth. The goal is to break a generational curse where sometimes verbal abuse is all you know. And I know for me, because I know what it feels like to not be heard. I would never put my son in a situation. Whenever I have a kid, I would never put my son or daughter in a position where they feel like they're not heard, and they repeat the generational curse in my family, or affect someone else's family, for them to keep repeating that generational curse as a man or as a woman.
That's deep.
Yeah, that's very deep.
And it just goes to show that, you know what I'm saying, when you want change, you have to be the change. It starts with you. You know, you can break the generational curses. It's all on you.
Mm. But even with that, it's like you said, it's all on you. But like, the thing about it, don't nobody know it's their responsibility until they're exposed to it. You know what I'm saying? So they don't know that it's on them. So like, imagine being lost and not knowing you lost. That's scary. You know what I'm saying? So having a responsibility definitely has to be presented. So like what Verse was saying, if all I know is this, I would never own up to that responsibility. I'm going to continue doing this. Now, yeah, it takes one person, but sometimes it'll be like that. Like if I got a brother, like let's say I got a brother that's same age, let's just say that.
Yeah.
He might change that generational curse before I do. He might take that role. You know what I'm saying? It might not end up being me. You know what I'm saying? He might end up setting that standard and continuing that. I might end up going the wrong route just because I was probably more impacted by the environment. You know what I'm saying? They probably looked at him as the golden child. And like, I've seen it so many times where the firstborn is treated, sometimes the firstborn is treated the worst. And then when the new child come around, the parents try to get their junk together, and now they reaping the benefits. So now that person is still a generational curse that's gonna be like withered off into another direction. But it's kind of like they created two branches. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a matter of being consistent, you know, and exposing the everything, all the tools that you need to take responsibility of things like that. You know, it's a big responsibility.
So I
Then
have a
he,
question
oh,
with that.
yeah.
If Christian, if you're saying that, the way I'm thinking is, if you recognize that there's a problem and you want it to be changed, why would you continue? If you can recognize, hey, I know I'm lost. I know I've been through this. How do I get better? So I guess I'm kind of stuck with that because essentially that would end up being on that person because they recognize it.
No, you definitely right. Like knowledge is one thing, but having understanding of what the knowledge I have is another thing, and then applying it, and then being consistent, and then maintaining that consistency,
Come on
and
now.
then also knowing where to maintain that consistency because it's levels to it, honestly. But to simplify it, yeah, you do when you do realize stuff, you do have to hold yourself accountable, and it's just that it's easier said than done. Because if that's all you know, I can't be all up in your face. Oh, you need to, you know, like if I know what I know, but you don't, I I think it's what we really need to do. We need to start at home, like you said. We got to start at home and progressively and gradually do these things collectively. Because like it take one person, but it takes a whole bunch of one persons. You know what I'm saying? Like to really make the impact.
Yeah.
You know, because that's one person can't do everything.
Right.
You know, everybody got to be on the same boat. But you
I
know,
agree. It does take a village.
First, did you have something you want to say?
Yeah, I had a question for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
My question is the fact of how do y'all handle male sensitivity? You know what I'm saying? And do y'all handle that with care and like care and with proper care as much as you desire men to hold your emotions?
Okay, good question.
I can jump in real quick. Um, Me personally, I want to be in tune with the person that I'm with, or I want to be in tune with my brothers. Like, I don't want the men that are surrounding me in my life, I want them to be able to know if I'm feeling a certain kind of way, I can express myself and I won't be judged. You know what I'm saying? Like, some women look at it as being weak. I feel like if you brushing everything off, you holding everything in, I feel like that's weak. That's a cop out. To be able to be comfortable enough with yourself to express yourself, that's something that I seek that in the person or the persons that I'm around, like my friends, you know, my family members, my brothers. Like, I want them to be able to release that, because I feel like holding that in, that's what pops off other things that are unnecessary. That they going out into the world, they got all this stuff on their shoulders. They don't have nobody they could talk to. You know what I'm saying? Somebody says something the wrong way and then they just explode. Like, I want that sensitivity, that emotion to be able to be let out. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if the man is comfortable enough around me to do that, that's a plus. Because like y'all said, men are taught to hold that in and suck it up and be a man and don't cry. No, like, you need to let that out. You are human just like everybody else. So I accept that. I welcome that. That's just my opinion.
Jump into right now, because my son, of course, I have a son. I wish I would have had a little girl to be a drama queen like me, but that's what I have my niece for. But my son, with me being a single mom for 7 years before I met my fiance, of course, I had to deal with meltdowns, and he has ADHD. So of course, on top of that, he was having more frequent meltdowns. And I kind of had to let him know, like, it's okay to fall apart. It's okay to cry. But like, what's not okay is when it's irrational, when I don't even know what's going on and you're just falling out. You have a job to express yourself, especially as a child. I wanted to create an environment where it was okay for him to express how he felt. because growing up, I know I wasn't allowed to just have every woman, even as a girl. So, and that's coming from hardcore Hispanic parents. But I want to make sure that I'm breaking that generational curse and that I'm not sending out another, robotic man into the world that's not going to care about the next person's feeling, whether it's male or female. So I try to do my best to, if he has something on his head, he talks a lot, y'all. All day I'm like, Jude, please, shh, honey, please stop talking. But when it's something that he really feels some type of way about, talk to me at that, because I'm your first love,
Well, Case, you have sons. So what? Yeah, you have sons. Speak on him. Speak on it, sis.
With me, I got 13 brothers. So I was always taught to be hard, the hard girl. I was always taught to be hard. I'm always fighting. I couldn't cry. I couldn't do anything. So my first child was my daughter. And of course, I always vowed to always have that relationship with her to where I'm her best friend. You can always talk to me. Then my second was my son. My oldest son, with him, he has this thing where he backs into a corner when he has a lot of stuff on his chest. And I feel like with young Black males in our society today, they're held up to a standard, shall I say. So I feel like my son feels that. My youngest son, he's a talker. He's very expressive. He's gonna ask questions. He wanna know what's going on. But my oldest son, he more so shuts down. He gets quiet. So with him, I've always told him, and I can say I'm guilty because when he was younger, I was the mama. What you crying for? Quit crying. I'm punching your chest. Shut up. Suck it up. You know what I'm saying? And as he got older, and I was that mother. But as I had my first son when I was 18. So I was a young mom. I had my daughter at 16. Very young mom. So I didn't know how to express. I didn't take my kids' emotions or their sensitivity into accountability. It was always my quit crying, shut up, So as time has grown and I've grown and they have grown, I always tell my kids, express how you feel. Don't hold it in. Don't let nobody tell you you can't be you. Express your feelings. And that's kind of like where I'm at with mine, my boys nowadays. But
look at that though. But look at that transition. I want to touch on what you said about standard, and I want to touch on some about I don't know if Nate said something about something, but dealing with process or learned or awareness. Okay, cool. So the fact that you started with that kid, your child, as far as I'm gonna punch you in your chest and this and that, and then later on telling him, hey, express yourself. It's just it's the same way how it is in a relationship. It's like if a man is taught that from, it's supposed to be your first love, your mother, and then you're taught not to express yourself, you know what I'm saying? And then find another woman that's probably a second love or someone you're interested in, and that person said, well, you're safe with me, express yourself. It's just that process where it's just I have to unlearn all these things, and then you want me to break down for you. Now that's another thing of the fact of, you cannot rush the process, because you was trying to teach this kid how to be tough. Now you're trying to teach this kid how to be vulnerable. And then now we get into a relationship, you want this man to learn quickly while he's with you to bring down that wall. And see, I feel like it's a lack of patience when it comes on to male sensitivity. Is the fact that it's like males emotions have been ignored so much. And then with the standard, when it comes on the standard, I understand with women, the difference between women and men when it comes on to protection is the fact that when women come together, y'all so powerful. Period. Nobody could break that wall down. Nothing when y'all together. But when it comes on to men, I can't even think of one male organization. I don't know any. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a mentor. I don't have none of that. So just like, it's no male organization I could just run to, be like, well, let me go ahead and join this male empowerment movement. It's none of that for us. We don't have no access to that. But if you go on Instagram, Facebook, everything, you see women leadership conference, women this, Black Lives Matter, women things, all different type of stuff pertaining to women, and it's foul. I
I
think
even
it's
think
foul.
I think 2 females were in Black Lives Matter too. But what I was gonna say, now the thing about it, to say it is not out here, it is out here. It's just that it is not the main promotion, and we see everything else more than the other thing. Because me personally, I do know of some. It's in St. Louis. It's a 100-man stand-up STL organization for black men, mentoring. I forgot how it's
Is it the
structured.
100 Black Men or
Yeah,
something
I
like
know.
that?
Say again.
Is it the 100 Black Men? Is it, because I know this organization.
It's called Man Up STL. Man Up
Okay.
STL, and
Okay.
it's like
But how many
100.
resources? But how many resources of male empowerment movement do you know? Or
See, that's
it's not a lot. It's not a lot of access or awareness of that. It's more. I could
yeah.
tell you at least 6 women.
That's the point I was getting to. Is that it's not as it's not as much as variety or promotion for as far as organization. You know, that's actually a conversation as well. Because at the end of the day, like what we talking about, we got to be the change. You know what I'm saying? You have to be that change, and it honestly don't necessarily have to be a structured LLC organization. Because at the end of the day, you start with your mom, you start your kids, your brother, you start with your brothers. You know what I'm saying? Those are branches you are creating, whether you believe it or not. Everybody has an influence and has a responsibility at the end of the day, whether you want to call it an LLC or whatever you want to call it. Because people can still get in a male organization or even a women empowerment. Because some of these women empowerments, they still be contradicting themselves sometimes. So like I know this is not the same principle comparison, but like when you think about church, you know what I'm saying? Being in church don't mean you're religious, or it don't mean you serve God. It don't mean that you believe in this. You just in a building. You know what I'm saying? It's all about what you take away from that and contribute into the real world and all the products that will come back. You know what I'm saying? If if you sow a seed of that, so uh, I definitely think I agree with what Jordan was saying. It's just in the end of the day, it does start at home, and I think that's the key. And another key thing, another key thing, one thing, the key thing is to know when and when not to display your sensitivity. Because like you said, like Jordan said, I was a child. You told me not to be tough. I'm punching your chest. I'm like, be tough. And then when you tell me to, now I'm uncomfortable because like I'm uncomfortable. I feel weird. I don't want to show you that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you said, I have to unlearn that, but I might have to learn that in either the hard way, the real hard way, or I might get fortunate and meet a woman that really break me down and get me right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it ain't always like that though. Sometimes I might have to learn the hard way and be in the street. That's what. Let me tell y'all something. That's why there's a lot of men in the street the way they are. All these men in the street, they're very emotional. All these men toting pistols, shooting people. These are very emotional men. They just not gonna claim it because I got my. You know what I'm saying? That's the toxic perspective of what has been.
And anger is an emotion.
It is.
It is.
Like
I feel like that's the only emotion like men truly feel, and it can quickly derail them if not handled correctly, because you guys don't get to express yourself. If men express themselves, you're weak. You know, how can you lead my household type situation? But in reality, it's like we need to create those environments for you guys, because just like us women, you guys feel too. You guys go through stress. Like, I know you guys compartmentalize and put things away and don't deal with it, but in reality, that's not helping y'all. Y'all live shorter lives, like scientifically, because y'all put so much things in and don't let it out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I was one of the questions I always ask. I said every time when I found out that a older couple dies, and I was the men first. And I said, hey, why I was the male I was die before the woman? Why is I was the woman I was the widow? And I thought about it, and it's just like, it has to be stress. It had to be keeping it in. It had to be something. It's just like, it's weird how you get in this relationship and the man now just this, what is this? Like, why? Like, why does this happen? And I feel in the male mentality, it's you're with this spouse. When a wife is happy, the house is happy. You know what I'm saying? Home is happy. So you're trying to make sure she good. Also, being able to go out into the world and provide. Also, your self goals, and also keeping your composure, and also worrying not, and also being defensive enough in the world for you to not be killed. So you have to worry about home, making sure she's happy, making sure it's you're happy, making sure when you go into the world you don't get killed, making sure that you're sustainable and you can provide. And all those things is in your head. So when you come home and this shorty is not happy, this thing is going on, this thing is going on, and then a man do not have a friend or a person that they could go to express that, this person is going to explode. But it's the difference between, like, sometimes if a woman do have a wise counsel and she go through a problem, she could call her girlfriends and be like, hey, boom, boom, boom. But it's not like that with a lot of men, because when men talk to other men sometimes some men talk to other broken men.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So hey, shorty did this. He gonna be like, man, buck that girl, X, Y, and Z. That's a toxic male. So it's like most men do not have wise counsel around them, compared to how women have wise counsel around them as well. So just like it's stress that's bottled up over time that cannot be expressed. And it's just like it's a generational thing.
Wow,
all right,
that's
Willis,
deep.
we're gonna take a quick break, and so that we can come back with some more from the Prep Boys, because they have a lot to say, and we want to make sure we get this topic out to you guys so you guys can continue to grow and develop, because we don't want hurt men out there, okay?
Right.
We just don't. Yeah. We love you guys, especially our black men. We love you guys. So if no one told you that today, we love you. All right?
Absolutely.